Cameron, thank you. Beacons of Hope in Perry County was host to several leaders and representatives of organizations working to fight addiction. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how the event put a spotlight on efforts to battle substance abuse.
Under primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky, Beacons of Hope is operating as a lighthouse for people battling addiction.
We actually have the ability to start with detox and work all the way through the system to where we have the opportunity to let them come back in our community and help us out.
Federal, state, and local leaders were in Perry County to celebrate. A lot of the funding for places like Beacons of Hope starts from government-initiated programs like Operation Unite.
And they are the people who work to supply places like this with the funds to allow them to do that. They've been doing that for 20 years now.
Not only did state leaders take time to speak, but they also heard from Holly Nation, who went through the Beacons of Hope program and is now in recovery while working as an office assistant.
I like coming here and reminding everybody, you know, that it's not the end of the world and you can do this.
Nation stood in the center during the ribbon cutting. Her story served as a literal beacon of hope.
Her being willing to give her testimony, which is what it is, helps everybody else who's in this facility know they can make it too. So it's special. It's a God moment every time that you hear it, and it creates that true path towards getting better and getting back.
With each piece of ribbon, those attending can mark the event as a milestone in defeating addiction. In Perry County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Governor Andy Beshear also thanked the General Assembly for their bipartisan work to help organizations battling substance abuse. In the fall, every consumer cell phone will be part of a nationwide emergency alert test. FEMA and the FCC have scheduled the drill for October 4th at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. You can expect your cell phone to receive an alert that reads, "This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed." Radios and televisions will also be tested that same day, and that test will last approximately 1 minute, and I'm sure we'll remind you again before that happens. The Justice Department has released an update on prosecutions connected to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. According to the latest statistics, about 1,100 people have been prosecuted. Nearly 70% of those have been convictions. In total, about 632 people have pleaded guilty. Another 110 were convicted at trial. Investigators are still trying to identify more than 300 people involved in the violence that day. Former President Donald Trump's legal fight over his alleged attempts to change the outcome of the 2020 presidential election is just getting started, with both sides filing new court motions. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Former President Trump's lawyers say the Justice Department is trying to unnecessarily keep their client quiet.
What the Biden administration is trying to do is prevent the press from learning about exculpatory and helpful information, evidence that the people have a right to know about.
The special counsel who's charged Trump in connection with January 6th and his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election has filed a request for a protective order to put restrictions on Trump publicly releasing evidence shared with his legal team. Prosecutors cited a recent social media post in which Trump said, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." The government argued Trump's statements could have a harmful, chilling effect on witnesses or adversely affect the fair administration of justice in this case. The intensifying legal fights come as voters remain extremely polarized over the former president and his latest bid for the White House.
I think it's going to be a challenging race with what's going on with President Trump.
While some GOP voters say Trump's cases are taking attention away from other issues, a new CBS News poll finds most Republicans view the indictments as an attempt to stop Trump's 2024 campaign.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. They can indict him 100 times. It's silly.
But the majority of Americans surveyed see the indictments and ongoing investigations as upholding the rule of law and defending democracy. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Former President Trump could still face another legal battle, this time in the state of Georgia. Fulton County's DA has been looking into Trump's attempts to replace electoral college electors in that state with electors who would have been loyal to Trump in spite of the fact that Biden won the popular vote there. A Minneapolis judge sentenced former officer Toe Tao to 4 years and 9 months in prison for his conviction of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Prosecutors argued Tao stood by and did nothing as George Floyd pleaded for his life in 2020 while Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck. During today's hearing, Tao spoke for several minutes about his growth as a Christian since Floyd's death, but denied his role in it.
I did not commit these crimes. My conscience is clear. I will not be a Judas, nor join a mob in self-preservation, or betray my God, nor the true faithful countrymen who found this country under the fear and majesty of God.
I was hoping for a little more remorse, regret, acknowledgement of some responsibility, and less preaching.
Tao's sentence in state court will run concurrently with his 3.5-year sentence on a separate federal civil rights conviction. His attorney says they will appeal. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, fewer people use paper checks, but check fraud is on the rise. What you need to know about so-called check washing.
Plus, we are tracking showers and storms across the mountains into this evening. The latest look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler coming up next.
WYMT News.